Thanks for joining the Omega Level Nerds. Don here, my partner J-Onehundred. How's it going, man?
What's going good, man? Or it's going good, man. How are you? What's up with you?
Man, what's up with me? Actually, thinking back to last time we talked for the pod, talking about whether I was going to get a PS5 or not, for the upcoming
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Rebirth. I've had some complaints, I guess, and we've rehashed that, but ultimately I've decided that I do want to play it. You've
Yeah.
inspired me with, the whole, okay, let him cook. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay. And I am already invested by going through the first game, and for the most
Right.
part, enjoying it. So, okay, so I'm excited. It'll be here tomorrow. Rebirth comes out in 2
Game
days.
comes out on Yeah, I was gonna say the game comes out on Thursday, right?
Yeah, so I might not be able to pick it up till the weekend or
Okay.
something like that. But yeah. So that's how things are going. How about you?
Well, I'm happy that my passion uh rubbed off on you in a positive way,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
is kind of for me as a Final Fantasy fan, and you'll see as a Borderlands fan here in a little bit. That's all I'm really trying to do. It's one of those things where I try to not to anymore be on like Facebook groups of
Yeah.
things that I like, because then I come in contact with other people that like it. And it's not that like the way they like it is bad or the way that they like it is wrong. This is the way that some people like stuff is weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And ultimately what I enjoy is that there are people that enjoy it. Um, but in those groups, I don't know if you've ever been in any of those kind of Facebook groups where like you're a big fan of something, probably like even X-Men stuff, right? You're a
Exactly.
big fan of something, and then like the people that post the most are like, bro, do you even know what
Right.
you're a fan of? And
Yeah.
why is this the crap that I see all the time? Where are the good conversations at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to have this be kind of like a positive, uh, uh have some positivity come out of this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, a little bit of money too, but
Right.
that I'm not making. I should have got a damn fee.
Right. Yeah. He sold it. That's right.
I'm
Finder's
just playing.
fee.
I'm just playing. But I'm happy for you. I'm excited. I'm excited for the game to come out. I'm actually about to play the open world part of the demo probably tonight or tomorrow. I've been trying to platinum Final Fantasy VII remake,
Yeah.
and I'm almost there. Man, I fucking. It's one of them situations where you played Seven remake, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Hard mode.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to get all the manuscripts, and I'm guessing the way that the manuscripts go in hard mode, especially for like the mission sensitive ones, I think that is the way they wanted the game to be played. So when it comes to going to the wall market, you're supposed to be the shithead who gets the Chocobo Sam missions. And I did it the Madam M way, and I messed up manuscript.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
like, yeah, I'm like, damn. But I got like 3 or 4 chapters left in hard mode, and outside of that, I will get the platinum trophy. Um, and then as far as like 100%ing the game, I gotta get the Aerith and Barrett scenes at
Mm-hmm.
Tifa's house, but
Yeah.
that's not a trophy, so I'm not really worried about that. But I'm close. That's what I've been on, being a nerd, trying to stay out the way and
Yeah.
clear my backlog.
Do you think you'll be able to get through all that before
Oh
you hit
yeah,
Rebirth?
I should be
Yeah.
done. I mean, that's why I'm deciding whether I want to play the open world part of the Rebirth demo tonight
Mm-hmm.
or tomorrow. Because if I play it tonight, then I'll probably beat the rest of it tomorrow, or I should just beat Final Fantasy VII Remake now, and then just enjoy the demo until the game comes out.
Yeah.
So actually, now that I said it out loud, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get the last 3 chapters done, go back and get that manuscript, and get my platinum, and then I'm gonna play Rebirth until probably the end of next month.
Right. Yeah, yeah, we'll be right there with you. So, yeah, definitely stay tuned here. We'll take you through that experience. I think at the very least, I'll have something to say about it on the next show. Uh, and it's great because, of course, me and you both, along with a lot of people, just Final Fantasy VII just really is a special game. And as you've seen, it's birthed a whole plethora of spin-offs and now remakes, rebirths, and whatnot. And it is nice when something you love is handled with, the love that you have,
Right.
where it matches, what your expectations of that is. And it is tough when something like that happens and it just doesn't meet your expectations. For me, it's X3. I love the X-Men. The first X-Men movie comes out. Cool. That was good. Wasn't perfect, but it was good. Oh, X2.
Right.
Okay. Oh, this is great. X2 is awesome. X3
Yep.
comes
Yep.
out. And you see the fastball special and all that. Oh, you can't wait. And then they get to the parts where, like, the Juggernaut is a mutant and isn't Xavier's, half brother. I'm sorry, step brother.
But he did the Juggernaut, bitch. He
Right.
did
Well,
the
no,
meme though.
that's that. Well, exactly, and that's disappointing because I'm like, I love the X-Men. This is their third movie in a trilogy. They're shooting their shot. This is big budget, as good as it's gonna get, and we got the Juggernaut, bitch. Like,
No, don't get me wrong. That meme was great, and that meme is
sure,
the reason why I went to go see it. I'm not an X-Men fan. I mean, I am, but like I'm
yeah.
not really. I don't know too much. But that's why I went to go see it. And the whole time I was like, "What? Oh, he did it!" And it was at the end of the movie too, wasn't it? So it made you wait the whole time.
Yeah, it was near the end of the movie where they go to assault the a facility that's in Alcatraz where the mutant cure is. So right, you
Right.
did huff through most of that movie, and not even to mention that the fact that Cyclops is killed off screen in that movie,
Mm. Yeah.
Professor X is killed in that movie. Like it was. I digress. So it's the epic
All
failure
right, I was bringing up some trauma for you.
of a beloved property. But unfortunately, you may be experiencing the same, at least as far as your reaction so far to the Borderlands trailer. Now, my only
Oh Lord.
experience is watching you on a stream play Borderlands. So
Yeah.
watching this, the aesthetic looks to be there. And that's a big thing for me. When something looks like it's supposed to look, that scores a lot of points with me. But again, you in our chat, you definitely had some problems with it. So take it from here, man. What's your reaction? What's your problems with that trailer?
The trailer was, you can't really see it, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. This is how much I have of one half is actually there's a lot more. No, I wouldn't say a lot more because I didn't have enough space. So there's things that I liked. There's things that you can tell were fan service. There's things that you can tell, like, all right, they get it a little. They get the basic premise. But then there's just egregious stuff that if maybe you didn't put it in the trailer to make me think about this, I wouldn't have that much of a problem. So
Interesting.
where would you like me to kind of start off with? You want the positive or the negative? Or I guess like my thoughts, because that's like
Let's
the three things that I have.
okay. Let's at least start with the casting because we had actually talked about when we first heard about the Borderlands. We were podcasting at the time. We heard about, I think, Kevin Hart at the time, and you
Yeah.
even had some reservations about it. Okay, okay. So let's
Like Kevin,
let's.
like Roland's not funny.
Hmm.
So so what do we need funny Roland for? To sell a movie, maybe. But if you have a strong story, and it's kind of like, so we'll do the casting. So you got Kevin Hart, who immediately is just like Kevin Hart movie fatigue. And it's Kevin Hart movie fatigue because he's the black, or like the African, like the dark skinned, I should say, Rock. Where I was watching a video a couple days ago about branding and movies and stuff now. The Rock and what's his name? Deadpool. Why am I maybe all of those years of blunts are starting to catch up with me. Ryan
Ryan,
Reynolds. There
right.
we go. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds basically play the same character who is themselves or who they would like to be,
Right on.
while throwing out their alcohol in every other scene or some venture that they have in every other scene. And that to me is Kevin Hart. Now, Kevin Hart may not do branding on his movies, but we see the dude so much in everything that you eventually will run into his branding. And ultimately, he plays the same smart but ignorant, uh, lost. Where am I? What's going on? Character. Like it's the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And based off of the trailers, he seems to have a little bit more wherewithal, and it's funny off the strength of everybody in the Borderlands universe being weird. But that's my thing. The Borderlands universe is weird, right? So we got Jack Black as Roland, the soldier.
I mean,
We
Kevin
have
Hart. You said Jack Black.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kevin Hart as Roland the soldier. Jack Black as Claptrap. The robot, I guess you would say the the face of Borderlands. When you think of Borderlands, you think of Claptrap and cell shaded graphics, maybe blown up just random enemies or whatever, right? And then you have Kate Blanchett as Lilith, Gina Gershon as Mad Moxie, and Jamie Lee Curtis as Tannis, and Ariana Greenblatt as Tiny Tina. I don't know who's Krieg, but you don't really see his face, so it doesn't really matter. Um, and I mean, the best acting though, as I say that though, the best acting is going to be, I think, it should be from Krieg, because if you know who Krieg is a bandit that isn't that crazy or wasn't that crazy and became a bandit and that made him crazy, so he like goes back and forth between his like bandit logic and then like logic, and so the juxtaposition of playing basically two characters at one time um is going to be interesting. Who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is, but he looks pretty hot. He's got some abs. All right, um so the big issues casting wise is Kevin Hart is just done too much, and we don't know how he's gonna do for Roland. He might end up doing all right. But the real big issues is that Lilith, Tannis, and Mad Moxie are 60-plus-year-old women. Now, this kind of rolls into my thoughts, but might as well just get it out now. I'm all for older women, older actors, but specifically and especially women, being able to play parts that maybe older women wouldn't, or maybe older women should, or being older shouldn't make you not be an actor no more. You know what I mean? They don't always have to be grandmas. They don't always have to be mothers. They don't always
Right.
have to be the caretakers. I'm all for that, but not for this. It doesn't make it believable. How are you supposed to be running around as Lilith, the siren of sirens, and it looked like you might break your hip? Now, don't get me wrong. I am a Kate Blanchett fan.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Galadriel. All those roles. Right. Yeah.
chef's kiss. Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh man, when I was like 5. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Right. Gina Gershon. I forgot. I think I was
Was
looking.
she
I saw this
Ahsoka?
earlier.
Or am I
Was
mixing
that
that? Is she Ahsoka? Was she Ahsoka, like the young Ahsoka from the?
Ariana Greenblatt was?
Okay, I got those two mixed up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But do you remember La Femme Nikita after
Yes.
WWE?
Yep.
And then there was like,
Exactly. Right.
but that's not, but that's no, that's Gina Davis.
Oh,
No,
okay. I don't think
it's
it was
Gina
Gina
Gershon.
Davis. I think you're right. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it was Gina Davis who did that one. Maybe it was Gina Gershon, but Gina Gershon, because Gina Gershon and Gina Davis kind of look similar, but
Yeah.
like Gina Gershon is the hot version of Gina Davis, who's still very attractive, but they have very unique looks that are similar, but they're different. But anyway, regardless, um, So, I mean, 9-year-old me, 8-year-old, I think I said this last week, but 8-year-old me would be jumping all over this movie because again, I mentioned that they showed Mad Moxie and what's her name? Her daughter, Ellie is in this game. And Ellie is a really big woman who has a lot of cleavage. Borderlands loves its cleavage, okay? So, out of this trailer,
Who doesn't?
the one person's cleavage that I did see, now again, not complaining at all whatsoever because I've been a fan of this cleavage for a long time,
Right.
uh, is Jamie Lee Curtis, who's the scientist.
Uh,
Tannis don't show no cleavage. Tannis is so science-minded, she's super weird.
yeah.
That's what makes her awkward, is she's just so science brain that nothing else makes sense. So her choice of clothes would not be titties popping out, but sure, we got titties popping out. So as far as casting goes, I don't know who the big bad is. I think one of the other side characters is like Lieutenant Captain. I can't remember names right now. It's the blunts have just taken a hold of my brain. But then they showed Marcus in there real quick. And Marcus is the guy that every time you go to a vending machine, or at least a weapon vending machine, he's got something to say. Whenever you go to the weapons area, he's got something to say. Marcus is a very pivotal part of the story because Marcus is the guy that calls for all the Vault Hunters to try to open a vault in the first place and picks them up from wherever they, start off at when they first get to the planet. And he basically narrates every single game. So why wouldn't he narrate the trailer or the movie? I don't know. We ain't seen the movie yet, but I
Right.
hope he's more important than some dude on the side because Marcus is one of the most important characters. So that was a little weird, seeing him as kind of a side character.
Yeah.
So there's a bad guy a boss that they show in here from Borderlands 3. His name is Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece, story-wise, is the mouthpiece of the characters of the third game, who the characters of the third game, spoiler alert, but the game's been out for like 5 years, is the children of the world's most legendary, awesome, heroic Vault Hunter. You don't even really learn about dude until like the second game, and then you really don't learn about dude until the third game. So why is one of the
Right.
bosses
In this.
from the third game in the first movie when that doesn't make any sense? Out of all the bosses that you could have taken, out of all the weird and unique characters, and this is the part that I'm talking about. So,
They did that with Mortal Kombat, the movie.
yeah, true. And Mortal Kombat's another one of those notoriously like, what is this? But then at the same time, the most recent Mortal Kombat movie made me look into the lore a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And the lore is great until you get to like the 7th or 8th game, then it jumps the shark
Breaks
like a
down.
motherfucker. So the one part in the trailer where they're driving through Piss Wash Galley, oh my god.
Right.
Just
Where
me
they.
knowing I'm about to talk about is about to piss me off. Piss Wash Galley is an open area, like an open gully, sorry, if you will, right?
Right.
That is where you jump this like bridge to complete a mission to get your first vehicle in the game. So you do all this stuff, you kill these little doggy guys, and you get you a little car, and he's like, hey, this thing hasn't been running for a long time. What I need you to do is I need you to jump the bridge over where we call Piss Wash Galley. Let me know how it's all working. So you do that, you complete the mission, you get some experience, this, that, and the third. That's the only thing you hear of Piss Wash Galley or Gully. So the fact that they made Piss Wash Gully a joke where they're driving through it and piss gets in the car, not funny. It's not funny.
No?
It's only going to be funny to people who don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because that's exactly what it seems like would be like the people that don't know. I mean, does that not happen in
No,
in the game? It's not spraying
Squash
piss
Gully is
everywhere.
just the nick. It's just the nickname of the gully.
So now it's turned into a whole thing.
So that's the whole thing. Which I put that as like a note. It being used for cheap laughs.
Right.
But I think this is the hidden ways that the writer, producer, who, whatever, is trying to clue to us that, like, hey, I get it. I'm a fan too. Look, I referenced a little gully in the first game, and now it's this whole big running joke. And like, there's other running jokes that you could use that I know that they're not going to make these characters be as important and as emotionally drawn as we are to the characters, even though almost every single one of them is absolute complete weirdo nutbags, except for like Roland and Lilith.
Right.
Everybody else is nuts. And then the other two guys, Mordecai and Brick, they're not even in it. So, you got some more characters you don't have. But Tannis is kind of crazy. Tiny Tina is absolutely insane. Krieg is half insane, half not insane, who might actually be Tiny Tina's dad. That's a thing that we don't kind of know yet. But
Mm.
um
Intrigue.
um and then, I don't know, just Lilith looks like she's going to, fracture her hip. And again, no disrespect to, my 60s and overs, because I'm almost there my damn self, but um you would crack a hip jumping on. You're not gonna do that. If somebody came up to you was like, "Hey, 6-year-old woman, um, we want to go to this alien planet and get this treasure," she's gonna be like, "Well, my granddaughter over here is perfect for that." You know what I mean? Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of my thing about it. And again, no disrespect to Jamie Lee Curtis, one of the goats. No disrespect to Kate Blanchett. Definitely no disrespect to Gina Gershon, because out of the three, that's the motherfucker right there. But I just they're just not believable in these roles.
Okay.
And especially that to me also signals you're not trying to do a sequel,
Mm.
because Kate ain't gonna do this again. Jamie Lee ain't gonna do this again. And then if they die, were you gonna Carrie Fisher's CGI her in the movie? Or you could have got 20 somethings in the first place and then they had a franchise for,
Yeah.
10, 15 years. But that just shows to me that they're not as serious about making the money as they think they are. But there are some good things, or Easter eggs or whatever, that I
Okay.
saw
Yeah.
that
Take us
actually
through.
make it pretty cool too. Because I don't want to be all doom and gloom, because I'm not trying to be gloom at all. It's just you showed me shit. So I'm sifting through it now to find these good things, right? So as far as fan service goes, one scene they had Lilith with an infinity pistol. Now the infinity pistol is super popular, and I think
Is
it's
that the
really
one where it
super
spins
popular.
at the end?
Yeah, it
Okay,
spins,
because I did
and
recognize that. Yep.
yeah, you never have to reload it until it, like, I don't know. There was one version of it that I got in Borderlands 2, because that's when it started. That you can shoot so many bullets before it doesn't work anymore.
Mm.
So you got to like use it, but use it sparingly. So if you use it as your main and then you're using it at going around killing all these bosses, you're gonna lose it. Which, depending on what level you are, you're gonna end up losing it and where you got it. So if you get it level 5 at the beginning of the game, you're gonna use it for about 3, 4, well, probably like 5, 10 levels or so
So you think
before
that
it's not
they're gonna
strong
make
enough to
it?
do anything, and then you'll get something else.
You think they're gonna make it her main then, like her signature weapon, which shouldn't be?
What I hope that they do with it is, it seems like she's using it in either the end or middle of Act 2, or sometime in Act 3. So I believe that it's gonna be like some loot that they get, because another weapon that I saw was Tiny Tina. Now, based off of the handle, the barrel, if you will, because I don't know what a rocket launcher barrel is, so I'm guessing it's a barrel, right? Um, and the way that it looks, it doesn't have like a 1-to-1 like name, but I think it's a Scourge. I don't know which version of Scourge, but it's like a Scourge variant. It has the handle
Hmm.
of it, the barrel, and then it has some other markings that a Scourge, if I were trying to figure out if this is a gun from the movie, the Scourge is the one that it looks like the most. So that's kind of cool. You know, you got another cool weapon. And then there was a part where Atlas, and it seems as Atlas is the big bad, which I don't know how I feel about that because then you ruin then you so Atlas is a corporation, one of the corporations. So out of the corporations, you see Doll, which is another gun that I think Kevin Hart has, but the way that it actually is, if if it's any weapon, it's a Doll weapon. But I couldn't see any 1-to-1 like this gun was. So it looks like he's got a Doll weapon, but when they open the sewer, it shows Doll on the sewer. So they show the Doll Corporation. Um, Tiny Tina's uh, uh, rocket launcher is a Torque rocket launcher. So Torque is represented. The Infinity pistol. Who? Hold on, I forgot. Infinity pistol. Um,
Infinity pistol. Thanos? No, I'm just kidding.
Corporation. I want to say it's Doll too. Um, Borderlands. Infinity is a. It looks like Doll. Yeah, it's a Doll. No, it's a Vladoff. I'm sorry, it's a Vladoff. So she gets it from Marcus. So Vladoff, Doll. I'm sorry, Vladoff as a corporation in the game is like the closest thing to the communist Russians. And so Marcus kind of has, like a little Soviet,
Yeah.
Eastern European accent. You know what I mean? So what I think is because there's a skin that you can get from Vladoff that is the hammer and sickle for one of the characters in Borderlands 2.
Mm.
So that to me, getting into like the actual themes of Borderlands, is I think that Marcus used to work for Vladoff or was Vladoff, but
Hmm.
then realized how much money he can make being a piece of shit selling all the weapons. So he just becomes capitalist Marcus. But regardless, the Infinity Pistol is Vladoff, and then Atlas, the big bad in the movie, is kind of one of your allies in the games because in Tales of the Borderlands and Borderlands 3, you have a story arc with the CEO of Atlas. So he's like your friend. So if they're trying to make the big bad of this be like Handsome Jack, you should have just had Handsome Jack. It's your story. Anyway, so it's just driving me insane. So Atlas, when they had this scene where it looks like the Atlas cops are pulling up, showing weapons, you're pointing their weapons at whatever. The assault rifle that I love the most in Borderlands 3 that doesn't have any uh, status on it, or one of the elements, um, they have that as one of the guns. So as far as some of the minor details in the game, especially weapons wise, I think that for the weapons fanatics, there's going to be some things in there that you guys will like.
Hmm.
They had a Outrunner, which is like the main vehicle before the DLC. I think in the first one is when you get like the trucks. Um, but it's had the Outrunner in it, so it's got the main vehicle, so that's good.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, I think that Cromarax, which is kind of like the secret boss, the secret final, hidden boss or whatever. I think they use him as the main Vault Destroyer in the end, which again is, bro, this is your own title.
Yeah.
For as much as they have in it, it seems like Gearbox gave them free reign to do whatever they wanted to do. And again, I'm not saying that they had to make a 1-to-1. I'm, I'm saying make a movie that will be good, because what's going to happen is after people go see this movie, or there's enough media about it that are gonna get mainstream people who haven't played this before to find out that they can get Borderlands 1, 2, pre-sequel, 3, all the DLC, and maybe Tales of the Borderlands for $30.
So you're thinking they're gonna go back and like play the
They're gonna
games?
buy this shit, and they're gonna go back and they're gonna be like, "That was the shittiest movie I've ever seen. It's worse than Madam Web." I haven't seen that yet, but I'm guessing when I steal it, that's how I'm gonna feel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's no. I haven't seen it, but I've seen enough talk about it that yeah, it's. I don't even really acknowledge the Sony Spider Verse without Spider-Man. Like I love Venom. It's actually one of my favorite characters because I don't. I was never a Spider-Man fan, so I liked the anti-Spider-Man. Thought he looked way cooler, but I can't fuck with that Sony shit at all.
But you saying that literally is the reason why I've never liked Sony having Marvel in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or any other studio having Marvel products after Iron Man came out, because
true.
IPs, I should say.
Yeah.
After Iron Man came out, because they're all cash grabs.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is a cash grab. And so we want to sit here. I was reading an article right before I started playing Borderlands and coming on here, talking about how the Marvels flopped. And listen, I really need like this idea that a movie is only as good as how much money it makes. That needs to stop, because
It's not going to, but I understand where you're coming from.
it's not going. But that doesn't mean that the movie sucks.
Right.
If you it's one of those things where like if you keep telling people, and this is the work of the quartering and all those shitlords on YouTube.
You were shit,
had-
Lord, yeah.
Hundreds, thousands of videos about Brie Larson.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just tell me that Brie Larson is what you jack off to before you go to sleep at night, so we can just ignore you. And you're upset that she said something that you think you don't like, but I'm pretty sure you don't understand. Just say that so we can ignore you. But there was hundreds and thousands of these videos to make people think that The Marvels was bad, or to make people think that Brie Larson as Carol Danvers was bad, or to make people think that women who are leading in these roles are bad. And that's not the case. It's that media illiterate people don't know how to read media, and then clearly don't understand the source material. And did some of the direction that they took in Captain Marvel great? No. Not every movie is perfect. You can nitpick any and every movie, but the fact that they literally put three different stories from 3 different shows,
yeah,
into one cohesive movie that you can just watch without having to watch all that and kind of get an idea what was going on.
yeah.
That's good writing. Whoever the fuck is complaining you just don't know what you're talking about. The Marvels is actually a really good movie. Is it the best MCU movie? No, but it's definitely better than Love and Thunder. And I think Love and Thunder was a pretty good movie, even though it's probably the shittiest Thor movie. And then, because like we were saying a couple weeks ago, when you go back and you look at what the second Thor movie actually was about, it's really not that bad. So that makes Love and Thunder, to me, the worst of the Thor movies, but still not that bad when you connect it to this whole cohesive universe, right? We don't have that yet in Borderlands. Y'all about to fuck up the first movie.
Yeah.
People aren't going to want this anymore. You're going to get your little money. Somebody, whoever thought this was a good idea, whoever thought they were going to do good by Borderlands, whoever thought they were going to do good by Gearbox, whoever thought they were going to do good by Borderlands fans, and got this movie greenlit or got on this, is thinking they're doing a good job. But you're about to fuck the IP up, bro. Like, and this is why I texted you a couple days ago that like what they really should do is, I'm not saying they need to make this 1-to-1 or it needs to be perfect, because that's kind of my big issue with Star Wars and because that's not one to anything. So I don't even know what people are complaining about. You don't even know what this is based off of. And when we talk about the Bad Batch, we're gonna piece some shit together.
Oh yeah.
But um um uh but this is the issue that I have with a lot of those people that was just like, oh, it wasn't perfect, so I don't like it. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. They just let them cook for a second. It might actually end up being a little bit better, or might flesh out some things that we didn't know before, didn't see before, due to graphical limitations or space, and all this other kind of stuff like that. Because again, being a YouTube nerd, I've watched video upon video upon video on how almost each and every Final Fantasy was made, and they cut so much shit out in order for it to fit 3 discs that there's probably a whole nother game that they could do to shut everybody the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
And
that's not
just
talked about
and
enough either. People just kind of like, oh, it's a
right,
masterpiece. It's wonderful. It's great.
right.
But yeah, you're right. I know we
No,
got
they
some hate.
they
We got a
cut.
comment, by the way, on our last video because they
Yeah,
basically called you a shithead because they thought you were talking trash about 4, which I'm like, we were both fucking saying how awesome it was. We just, said the story was. But anyway, yeah,
I wasn't talking shit about 4. I was being realistic
right.
about what we were playing when we were playing 4.
We don't take kindly to your realistic
It,
take.
I and that's kind of perfect, because it's one of those things where it's like Final Fantasy 4 is, and 6, but 4 and 6 are great examples, because there's 2 and 3 in America, are great examples of, if you're American, you really don't even know what the story is about. I had to make my eyeballs crazy for that one. Like, really don't even know, right? You really don't know what because the translation that we got, absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. So that's literally what I'm talking about. If you take the translation, you take the
Yeah.
script and read it like a book, you're gonna be
Spoony
like,
bards and shit, yeah.
what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Like, as the final
And so,
boss dies, he's like, Graham! What? What, you trying to buy a sack or what? Like, what?
yeah, right. Right. I mean, listen, you could just hit this one, brother. I ain't about to give you no gram. You could take this run in rotation. Lord have mercy. And all those meteors we had to throw at you. I mean, we figured you smoked something. But anyway, but when you play the game, and the imagination that you're putting into it, and your head canon, yeah, 4 is absolutely amazing. But based off of what 4 is, if I were to make a 1-to-1 anime remake of 4, you're gonna be like, this is dumb. Why are we watching this? And I love 4. 4 is what
Is my
is
goat.
the first Final Fantasy I ever saw. Beautiful game. Beautiful game. Just thematically
The
and
music,
story-wise,
everything.
thematically all right, but story-wise was just weird. And that's why when you look at 6, how they have, all these different characters and this, that, and the third. I mean, the thing that you can complain about in 6 is everybody's so open-ended. We don't really even completely know everybody except for maybe like 2 or 3 characters. You know what I mean? And even then, like, do we? There's so much we could do within that story. There's so many holes within that story. What made Kefka go crazy? We don't know. Why was he, even in the Empire in the first place? We don't know. There's so much shit we
Yeah.
don't know, but we're gonna sit here and not think that if we were to retell it and have to piece those parts together, we're gonna have to change some things in order for it to cohesively fit. Like, I get that. But a 60-plus-year-old Lilith, a 60-plus-year-old Tannis,
Right.
and a 60-plus-year-old Moxie is not that retelling that I think that we're gonna need. And it's funny with the casting of the older ladies. Again, I love those ladies as actors, as women, as the characters that they're going to play. I'm gonna suspend my reality, but to me, it's like, if they were going to do a live action Powerpuff Girls reboot and casted Betty White and what's her name, McClanahan, and B. Arthur from Golden Girls as the Powerpuff Girls, it's not gonna be believable, bro. Sugar spice everything nice, and then out pops Granny. Like, no, bro. This is Powerpuff Girls, my G. There's some things that we need age appropriate. We're not even appropriate, but age, accurate things on. If you're gonna try to make a science fiction, everybody's calling it like Guardians of the Galaxy, but crazy. Right. Now I will say that. Oh, and there was one line that threw me for a loop. So I think it was near the end, and this is that gun that I couldn't figure out from Roland. But Tannis is all Jamie Lee Curtis. She's all looking around, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm looking for a gun in Borderlands. You're looking for a gun in
Right, like it didn't, like they're hard to find. Yeah.
I am not paying money to see this movie unless I don't know. I don't know what they would need to do in order for me to uh actually actively want to pay money. Something within the media tour, someone, Ariana Greenblatt is gonna have to like, hey, but we couldn't show it in the trailer, but Tiny Tina is actually fucking nuts. She says some shit like that, I might be there. Gina Gershon's got to wink at me, then maybe. Uh, at me personally, not just wink on
Right.
camera. You got to
Right.
be like, John, come on, baby, come to the movie.
Right.
I'll be like, all right, Gino, I'm gonna be there. All right, let me get my money out.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, the trailer is not giving its best, but I did see and it's funny because she's probably about 60. Um, and someone I used to work with when I lived in California, I'm still Facebook friends for, posted a poster of Borderlands and said, "This looks like it might be actually good." And I didn't want to burst her bubble because she wasn't going to know what I was talking about anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who I think that they're making this movie for, which is not going to make sense to me because Gen X, Gen X, the older spectrum of Gen X is not going to like everything else surrounding Borderlands. They're not going to like the gratuitous violence. They're not going to like the potty humor as much as maybe like the Gen Zers and the millennials who grew up playing this game
Mm-hmm.
will. I don't even like the potty humor. Like, what am I, 6? The whole shit and bullets little line at the end with Claptrap, like, "Oh, keep looking at me," like. So it sounds like that joke was even going too long
Right.
in the trailer. Like, cut that, please, editors. If you see me, cut that joke like 10 seconds short.
Yeah.
Like, tell it and then move the fuck on and find some weapons. You know what I mean? Find a chest that has a legendary. Might make up for all the shit. If you throw a little more video game stuff out there, you make Tiny Tina crazy. Because realistically, if there's any future Borderlands as a movie franchise has, it's with Tiny Tina. Because that's what they're doing with the games. Tiny Tina is like their
Mm.
big thing. So if they do Tiny Tina right, they might be able to go further because Ariana Greenblatt seems to be the female 20-year-old version of Kevin Hart. She's gonna be in everything.
You're right.
But ultimately, what I want is new stories. If you're going to do something off the beaten path with Borderlands, you should have just made it new. Should have just made new Vault Hunters that maybe had some cameos from Roland or Marcus or Moxie or Scooter or whoever, and made it new and made it original and gone from there. But if you're gonna almost 1-to-1, all the characters really need to do is put some black lines in them to look like cell shading, and it almost has that 1-for-1 feel. And I think ultimately that's gonna be the thing that ruins the movie and the franchise. Is you want to do something original, but you want to have all the source cast,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's going to work the way you want it to. Especially considering last point that there was a whole point that I wanted to make. Especially considering that, and I don't think that they're going to do this, but Borderlands is a critique on patriarchy, uh, capitalism, uh, 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 trauma, um, family. Like it's a critique on what these things actually are in between blowing up bandits and shooting the little doggy things. I forgot what they're called. Scats, whatever. Skags, yeah, that's what they're. In between all that, because that's what you have to do to hide themes in the United States of America, or they're not going to greenlight your shit at all, aka Star Wars. Um, that you have to hide those themes in the gratuitous violence and ridiculousness. And I don't think that ultimately this movie is going to make that point. I think what they're going to say is this corporation is bad because they want to take the vault from you and you want to get the vault. But again, I don't want to spoil anything
Yeah.
at this point because it's going to be a movie now. But like, the vault's not supposed to be open. That's the whole point. It's a treasure you're not supposed to have.
Right.
So if you open it, all you're doing is
Raiders of the Lost Ark type stuff. Okay.
right. It's a lot deeper than the gameplay and the dialogue uh, carries on. But if you read in between the subtext, I believe there was a mission. There was a mission in Borderlands, a pre-sequel, where there was this guy and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for my girlfriend. I'm looking for my girlfriend. Can you please find my girlfriend? Last I saw her, she was doing this." And then like this woman set up this elaborate ruse to get away from this dude because he's crazy and abusive. And then like at the end to beat the
Oh.
mission, you have to help her fake her death so she can be
Yeah.
free.
Interesting.
It- I mean, when I played this mission, I was like, holy shit, let me go back one more time and play through this all and get the theme. And the theme is, especially in the third one, you know, your family business doesn't have to be a bunch of shitheads. You shouldn't sell your family business away for, you know, monetary gain. And it's about love and family and all this other stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is what these games are actually about. It's just that you blow up shit at the same time. So I hope that carries over. And if not, then it really, really, truly is going to destroy what Borderlands is about.
Okay, I definitely think I get it now. Like I said, the aesthetic I thought from what I've seen was pretty good, but I hear what you're saying. In addition to the bang bang pow pow, the cool vehicles, cool weapons, we've got a narrative here that's very interesting. That maybe it looks like they're not going to dive into, but they're going to kind of go fast here and not cook into that sort of thing.
Right.
All right.
Exactly. Oh
Well,
Lord.
last time that we talked, you had seen the Bad Batch, but I hadn't. And
Right.
obviously, I have since rectified that because it's Star Wars, and I like the Bad Batch.
Good job.
So
You did your
three
job
episodes,
as a fan, sir.
right? Absolutely, not a hard one either. Not a hard job either. So we got the first 3 episodes, so it wasn't the full season. Which I think I like. I think I like better than we drop week by week. And I think I like it better than dropping everything at once. Because it kind of gives you a place to maybe have a little tension, a little drama, a little cliffhanger, if you will. But obviously, this season deals a lot with Project Necromancer. Which, spoiler alert, Project Necromancer has to do with reviving Palpatine, basically cloning Palpatine. They haven't come out and expositioned that exactly, but I mean, the writing's on the wall, it's there. But I think the big revelation that we get from these first 3 episodes is that they've been able to clone the Emperor, no problem. But what they have not mastered is his midichlorian count transfer. And I know me and you talked about, you asked me last week, like, well, what do you think's going on with Omega here? What do you think that is? And I thought that it was something to do with Rey, either her mom, basically. And these episodes kind of reinforce that to me after I actually watched them. I definitely, because basically what it turns out is, like I said, Omega is a successful transfer of midichlorian count. Now, they don't say midichlorians, they say M count, but we know what it is. It's midichlorians. So Omega is the first successful cloning of Palpatine that basically got his talent with the Force. That's what I'm gathering from this all. Have I missed anything? What do you think, John?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, yes, that's what's going to end up happening. But from what we've seen, um, from what we've seen, I think that there's two people who would be able to pass the genes: Boba and Omega. And Boba got loose and was doing his own thing, but still kind of gets close to the Empire anyway. So that's interesting as time goes by.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Omega, especially being a female, is just able to carry the genes like better, and probably is able to give birth and stuff too. So what we've seen is that the blood was able to mix with each other, and that blood with Palpatine's M count didn't become contaminated for whatever reason. That's what I saw. And obviously this season is going to, since it's the final season, I think it's going to be the one that we're going to see what ends up happening to Omega, which I don't think is going to be good. And but we're going to see the aftermath of it, which I think is a daughter for Palpatine that he had been hiding. But what I think off of that theory from where we are right now is that clone or that daughter runs away, finds Rey's dad, and then has to give her up because he found out about, or Palpatine found out about it and was looking for her. So I'm watching all the movies with a close friend of ours because she's never seen them and wanted to. So of course, we watch them in release order because that's how you do it the first time, at least in my rule or my house or the way I do it. You're going to watch it the way we all watched it first.
Absolutely.
That way you can get clued in and filled in the way we got clued in and filled in. Then we can piece it all together or watch it in order or do whatever chronologically or whatever. But you got to watch it in release order first so you can feel the way that we feel about it. So then when you go back and you watch it again, you got to kind of get a better, clearer idea of the universe that you're in.
Right, because if you watch them in chronological order, like, you totally miss the whole, like, ooh, what was the Clone Wars? That sounds interesting. That sounds crazy as fuck.
You're going to miss it.
Yeah.
And then the differences between the ages of the movies is going to jar you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's better to start with what I consider the worst, even though they're the better movies, but the worst graphically movies, the worst movies graphically.
They're still a marvel, though, if you keep in perspective.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that, like, you go from the way
very polished to
Obi-Wan and Vader have a lightsaber battle in A New Hope versus Obi-Wan and Vader and
flips and kicks and melting through blast doors and
exactly. It's going to jar you. So it's better to see the basic, get an idea of the foundation of the universe, and realize that you're coming in the middle of the story, and then we're going to piece the story, the beginning of the story. We're going to give you that, and then we're going to clue it all in with the end. And we're about to watch Rise of the Skywalker, Probably tomorrow. I'm gonna go over there. And even then, because she's asking, she asks questions to kind of get filled in, and I've
Mm-hmm.
said a little more than I should have just to get her to get things to make sense for where
Yeah.
she was. But she's gonna see it all getting pieced together, and the whole thing about um for you Kylo Ray shippers out there, which are so weird. Just people who do off switches narratively throw me off. It's so weird to me. So Aerith and Cloud are not supposed to be together. Like, stop doing that. It's weird. And then Kylo and Ray being together. No, she saw him. She don't want no parts of that fucking guy, bro. She don't want no parts. Okay, yeah, she kissed him in the end because you finally turned. Should have did that shit in the first place. And I knew you weren't gonna do that shit. And I knew the reason why you weren't gonna do that shit because you lied to me about my parents. Ooh,
Mm. Yeah.
ooh. Oh, they were just just traders, junk traders. They sold you
Soldier for
for some
drinking
drink.
money. Yeah.
No, they didn't. And Rise of the Skywalker kind of hinted at that too, that they didn't. So you're a piece of shit trying to, get your just Kylo is the modern man who complain about modern women. That's who Kylo was to me. That you're so strong and you're so this and you're so that, but you got to lie to the girl that's almost about to throw herself at you because I don't know what it is with those guys or Kylo, but that was unnecessary. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's we're there. We're at the part where somehow Palpatine returns is probably going to be one of the greatest lines of the saga.
Yeah.
Because it ain't no somehow Palpatine returns. This motherfucker's been doing this for 50 years.
Yeah, he told the doctor, and I can't remember his name, but he told him, you have the full resources of the Empire to get this shit
Right.
done.
Mm-hmm. He's been doing this for 50 years, man. And to be honest with you, let's go back. When he was talking about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis. So my thing is how long, this is me and you right here. How long do you think it was? Well, actually, I think he killed Darth Plagueis before he became a senator.
Before he became a senator, there's actually a really good book that I want to read that deals
Yeah.
with
I need
Sheev
to, I need to get, I think
Palpatine.
because it's canon, right?
Yeah, it is absolutely canon. But honestly, I get the impression, and I can't remember exactly why I have this impression, but I get the impression that Darth Plagueis was still around at the beginning of the prequel trilogy. So I don't know. That's
So,
an interesting question, though. We should research that.
so then, so the, I kind of do too. I kind of do too, and I kind of think that either he was either killed before he became a senator, or near the beginning of uh
Attack of
Phantom
the Clone.
Menace.
Okay, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, Phantom Menace because of Darth Maul. I
Right.
think he
The
did
rule of two.
exactly
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
I think he did exactly what Dooku did, which is the reason why Dooku did it.
Yeah.
Having a apprentice when there's the rule of two, because there was going to be the rule of two. I'm gonna get rid of you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think Plagueis told Palpatine how to stay alive, and that I can do some wrangling on the back end to get the Jedi to go do some shit for
Mm-hmm.
us. And so I read the was it Dooku? Yes, it was Dooku. So the Dooku book. I read the Dooku book. The
Okay.
Dooku book is about Dooku and Ventress at the same time.
Mm.
And so you kind of get into why him and Sifo-Dyas both fell off. Is Dooku, based off of the Jedi Order, Dooku shouldn't have been a Jedi in the first place because he was older when he
Right.
became one, and he
But
knew
he
his
had the
family and
money.
all that other shit.
He had
Right,
the
right.
money.
And Sifo-Dyas was just like wrong place, wrong time type of shit. Like, oh, I'm in the Jedi Order. Awesome. Well, I'm next to this Dooku guy, and this nigga be talking some shit all the time, but it makes sense though.
Right.
Hmm. And then I got a vision. Hmm. You know what I mean? So I think that
Right.
this whole somehow Palpatine's returned is not a somehow Palpatine's return. I think they did that. I think that was a very crude, um, um, in hindsight, like, I don't know, throwaway line that wasn't a throwaway line. Like somehow Palpatine returned, because everything that's come out since has something to do with cloning.
Yeah.
What, except for Obi-Wan, and even then, I think nope, no, Obi-Wan didn't, or
No.
did it?
No, it had
No,
nothing to do with
I don't think
cloning.
Obi-Wan did. But
Um.
Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3 is about cloning. The Clone Wars is about the clones.
Yeah.
Bad Batch is about what they're gonna do after the clones. What else coming out? Acolyte is probably what's in between.
Yeah. No, it is. It really, yeah, the Clone Wars. Like, cloning is a major, major thing in Star Wars. And you're right. I think the return of Palpatine has definitely been telegraphed. But I wonder, is it because I understand the Legends canon, where that was totally the whole thing, where he came back. He even turned Luke to the dark side at one point. So when Rise of Skywalker came out and Palpatine, revived or whatever, cloned himself, came back from the dead, like, I don't know, it already fit in my head, like I knew this was the thing. Like they had kind of been building up to it. But I guess for anyone that didn't follow the Legends canon and didn't know that it totally fucking happened already, it threw them off. But they've always said, okay, yeah, Legends isn't canon, but we're going to borrow from it heavily. And I
Yeah, I'm
definitely
trying
think
to
they
remember
have.
that Palpatine book canon. I think it's Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, Darth Plagueis. Absolutely.
Others, Darth Plagueis.
But like I was saying on Superhero Speak when I was on it the other day, because John had been complaining that he had watched the Netflix Avatar and found it to be lacking. Thought it was better than the movie, but definitely thought that it didn't cook enough in the story. And I told him, like, that's because we as consumers we don't let anyone cook. So yeah, they're gonna spit out what they can in eight episodes.
He barely got to the north. Like the dude don't know how to bend nothing. Like what are you talking about? Well, you're already now. I personally missed Avatar. Like I don't know
I
what I
understand.
was doing. I don't know what I wasn't doing, but I missed that. So what I know of Avatar is up until he got to the north in the show, which I believe is the first season.
Yeah.
Maybe like the
Book
first
one.
book
Some
one. Yeah,
shit.
book one. So I don't know too much, but based off of the book one and what I saw, outside of Sokka being annoying as fuck, uh, I think that it was a little bit better uh, than the cartoon, because the cartoons always had to, and this is kind of the issue with Clone Wars a little bit too. First 5 seasons at least. Is it was placating the kids. So you had to have your
Yes.
like kitty little, gotta tell you a a theme
Yeah.
to always be truthful to your friends.
But then
And
it said,
always
fuck it.
Right.
This is about war and how
This is
fucking
about
nasty it
war
is.
and all that other shit.
Look at
Right,
all this
exactly.
dumb shit happening to people, and it's all because one dude's playing two sides of the chessboard.
Right.
You know?
And we let him do it.
And we let him do right, and we
So-
let him. He's doing this
that's my whole
legally.
thing. That's what I like about this live action version of Avatar is because like Aang is just like, yeah, but that's stupid. I mean, he was like that in the cartoon too, but it was just like a cartoon. So you like kidify him like, oh, he's just a baby. But like when you see him, he's like this 13, 14-year-old boy. It's like, yeah, I understand all that, but that's dumb. So we're going to not do that. Like Aang, you know how people say,
They're trying to break the wheel.
it's funny. it's funny because I've been watching, I don't know why, but I've been watching a lot of analyzation of Fight Club again for some
Okay.
reason.
Random.
I don't know why. I watched like 3
Yeah.
Fight Club analyzation videos for some reason in the past like 2 weeks. I don't know why. And I know what it is the whole time. Like dude's a schizophrenic weirdo fascist. Like I get it. But I don't know. I want to hear people's thoughts. But I say that to say that like, you know, people say that like, oh, I'm so Tyler. Like one, you don't understand this movie at all. Like when people say that, you don't understand what you're talking about at all. And if you do, and you're saying that, then get the fuck away from me. I might have to punch you. But
Right.
um, but I truly see myself in Aang. I don't understand y'all. I like not you, but like y'all.
Yeah,
Like y'all.
yeah.
I don't understand. It makes no sense. Why would you not fight I mean, I don't want to fight at all. I don't want to hurt nobody. But if you're gonna hurt my friends, bro, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like what? Like what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
sometimes and I will say this: if you're not going to be original, millennials who are producers nowadays, because this is where it's coming from. Millennials who are producers and directors and writers. If you're not gonna be original, then take the kid shit out of the shit that we grew up with and tell us the real goddamn story. Which is kind of the reason why I like Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that's what it's doing. And that's why people don't really like some of the twists. But realistically, like I was saying last week, the twists were all hallucinations that we never got to see anyway. So when people are like, oh, they showed Sephiroth too early. When Cloud was blacking out, what was he saying in PlayStation 1? We don't know because it was black.
Right.
He could have been hallucinating. We don't know. Graphical limitations. So just let him cook. If it was like, oh, we fought, actual Sephiroth in the middle of Midgar, chapter 9 when they went to the wall market, then I get where you're coming from. But they didn't do that. So let's not have that conversation. You know what I mean? So going back to Star Wars, it's kind of the same thing. That like someone's going to say that they knew they messed up with the throwaway line that Palpatine returns, so they're trying to make up with it with all this other stuff. And I think it's the opposite. Maybe it's because I view it or look at it differently or whatever. But I think that the throwaway line was the thing that they were going to base the whole
Yeah.
rest of the stuff off in the first place. Somehow Palpatine returned. No, bitch, we about to show you 5 years of media showing how Palpatine planned all this from the beginning. Beginning. Before Anakin was even born.
Yeah, he'd been plotting this for a very, very long time.
Which makes it make sense. It makes everything make sense. For the people who complain about the prequel trilogy, well, now the whole prequel trilogy is about to come together in like 7 Bad Batch episodes.
Mm-hmm.
For all the people that are complaining about the sequel trilogy, all that's about to come together in about 7 Bad Batch episodes.
And wait till they figure out in about 5 years, maybe 7, that it's going to come back to Palpatine because he's doing all of this in preparation for a Yuuzhan Vong invasion.
Correct.
So wait till
Correct.
It's going to come back around again.
Because what they haven't really done, well, actually, bro, I'm telling you, my first big paycheck or first free paycheck from this new position that I got, I am going to Barnes and Noble and I'm getting this whole trilogy series books. Like, I need the I guess the side story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know too much about the main stuff that I don't want a unreliable narrator to tell me their thoughts on what the back stuff is. I want to read it myself and then be able to judge or maybe even make content myself. But I don't really like doing deep dive shits because motherfuckers be like, well, you missed one detail from the one book on page 17 of this random comic that only issued 20 copies in 1975. Like I don't want to deal with that because I'll dog you the fuck out. Um, but I want to know for myself, and I need to get those books. And Darth Plagueis is like top on my list right now. Besides Thrawn, because like I said, I read the first Thrawn book, and one what he's going through, you got to kind of get yourself out of, you know, I hate the Empire because that's hard for me to do. It's hard for me to ever give any credibility to anything the Empire has to do
Right.
because I know what they are. You know what I mean? But when you take that out and you look at what Thrawn had to go through, one, I don't really even think Thrawn gives a fuck about the Empire, realistically. And it's kind of one of those weird. It's kind of one of those weird. Um, Anakin told Luke to take his mask off, and that's how he redeemed himself. Because outside of that, what the fuck did he do? Things that I've been trying to figure out. Like Darth Vader is the only person on the dark side that I will give credence to, but I'm only giving him credence narratively. He didn't do anything to redeem himself.
No.
What did he do?
He saved his son.
Did he birth a whole new batch of younglings? Because you can't redeem yourself after killing kids, my G.
Yeah.
Sorry. But narratively, we're supposed to believe, you know, because he's a force ghost or whatever, he redeemed himself. So fine, I'll suspend a little bit of logic to go that far.
That is
But
his superpower.
but that's my thing with Thrawn is that I think that Thrawn is going to quote unquote redeem himself because he didn't care if the rebels, because he first came around the Clone Wars. So oh yeah, he came around the Clone Wars. So the Republic was the army that
Mm-hmm.
was going on, and he was basing his decision and his plan to come back based off of that. And when he came back, that was the Empire. So if you got a bigger plan and the quote unquote good guys turned into the bad guys in the 10, 15 years that you were setting your plan up, I don't really blame Thrawn for that, especially considering how smart Thrawn is,
Mm-hmm.
how he does tactics, how he learns, how he uses people, how he mentally jujitsus people.
Yeah.
Great character, great character.
Yeah. No, he
So
really
it's all
is.
coming together.
And that's a great point that you make. Like when he was exiled into the unknown regions, you know, there was
Quote unquote.
still the Empire, the Galactic Empire, still had, you know, senators and you
And
know,
Jedi, because
yeah.
he remembered Anakin.
And that was another thing that I loved was that, like, yeah, he had worked with he had worked with Anakin during the Clone Wars. And so in the Ahsoka show, once he had learned, like, oh, that's Ahsoka. Wasn't her master Anakin? Oh, yeah, no, we're not going to fuck with her. We're not.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Not, mm-mm,
we're gonna
not at all.
skirt around that
I
one.
know who taught her, and that nigga crazy. So
Right. Yeah, she's been with that motherfucker since she was a kid. No, no,
right,
no.
I don't know, bro. She held that lightsaber in such a way
Right.
that
Um,
I don't know, man.
so yeah, if
Because
for
when I
whatever
was coming up
reason,
through these ranks, that Darth Vader dude was
yeah,
crazy.
yep, and exactly, he was with Anakin and Vader, so he's like, yeah,
Mhm.
nope, 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 nope.
So I want to read in the books because I've only seen it talked about in a comic because I haven't actually read the comics, nor will I. But um, um, uh, I want to see in the books if they talk about the time that Thrawn basically puts out there in his Thrawn way.
Mm-hmm.
That bitch, I know who you are. Like, don't you remember an Anakin during the Clone Wars? Oh, that name doesn't ring a bell. Oh, okay.
Right.
Sure.
Oh, what are all these?
Sure,
What are all
Darth.
these hollow videos on all this
Right.
military data? Didn't exist, huh?
Right.
Yep, yep, yep. Um, so yeah, absolutely. So obviously, if you're not watching The Bad Batch, watch it. It's a great show. Um, great characterization of Omega. Uh,
Omega.
you know, little things like, Omega is doing this service on this where they're doing experiments on clones, and they've got these hounds that they use, and one of his tasks is to like feed them, and he starts being nice to one of them. Betcha, oh betcha.
Oh,
Uh,
betcha.
um, but it turns around that him being nice to that
It's so
dog.
funny because I literally do this while watching it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh,
And Mara be looking at me crazy like, oh, here you go with the accent again.
it's funny. Rekka, tick. Yeah.
Rekka.
Um, that Carillion accent. But it's just cool that it's like, okay, Omega's nice to these animals, and then sure enough, it comes around to where like that animal becomes crucial as far as them escaping. We're not gonna go full spoilers, but so it's just a well written show. It's a really cool subject matter. The characters that they introduce in the show are cool. And again, there is this mystery about who Omega is. I mean, and obviously, I think we're going to find out, as John said earlier, this is the last season. It's not going to end well. It's going to be kind of a tragic thing. I mean, we've already experienced some tragedy through this show, and unfortunately, it's going to continue. But good shit. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love the fact that Disney Plus is a thing. And they're even doing this now with the Marvel shows. Like, okay, yeah, we'll have our movies, but we can cook a little bit with these shows.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoy, is that we can do these stories in the universe that I love, and it not be a movie release, where we've got to look at what was the box office, we can just enjoy them on Disney Plus at our leisure, at home, get our filler information, where we're able to deep dive and piece together things that have happened before. It's just good shit.
I agree. And for those, I also would be remiss. One of the other themes that I was really enjoying in the Bad Batch is when they almost found Omega, or they're on the planet that she used to be on, and found those other young clones who had been abandoned or escaped
Yeah.
after they were going to be killed and abandoned. And the fact that the one kid early on was like, I'm going to help them. I think that was cool because they're one of us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then them coming together and helping save the day. I think that thematically, I don't think was done for no reason. I think it was done on purpose, and it's one of those things that we got to think about. We got to talk about, and it's one of those things that, like I was saying before, that you got to take the kitty gloves off and get to the heart of this, because one thing, especially watching episode 2 and seeing it, one thing that I always thought about, and they're kind of getting into it a little bit with some of these shows and Obi-Wan and stuff, is what happened to all the clones. So one way you can think about it is they all died off, but like they didn't, and how they were treated and how they were treated as
Yeah.
citizens,
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff like that, and that makes me hate what the Empire is even more, because it's one I say this all the time, and but I always will repeat it, is I hate how, and I was reading it in a comment today, there was a whole Star Wars page that popped up. I think it was about like Sith Lord memes, and to me that's weird,
Yeah.
because what I saw was people like, oh man, this is so cool, or I would do that, or I would blah, blah. This is a fucking empire, guys. What are you talking about? No, you would not. And if you did, stay the fuck away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
And I think it was last season, to see what the transition from a conscripted army to sorry, from the clone army to the constricted army, conscripted army look like and how it was changing, like, don't you see how fucked up this shit is, dude?
Right.
And the fact that what's his name? Crosshair. I had to do the accent or I wasn't gonna
Right. You
remember.
won't get it
I was
right.
gonna call him Snapshot. Well, with the accent, I remembered Crosshair.
Crosshair.
With Crosshair, he fought back, and now he's fucked. And now he feels like, you know what I mean? Like he's so
Yeah.
lost and whatever. And basically, you have all these characters and all these systems and all these groups of people that are like, nah, fuck that. We with you. And so that again leads me, and I'm not going to get too deep in today's world, right? Because we know what happens when I do. But I don't understand how people can watch and argue with me about Star Wars and all this other stuff and then put a fucking Star of David on their goddamn profile picture. Do you not realize this is the exact same thing? Literally. It's literally the same thing. It boggles my mind that you would sit here and be like, oh, Luke Skywalker needed to be this and needed to be that. But even him in his own universe, the own lore of the universe, was not trying to do this shit, bro. We want to just live. We want to just be peaceful. If I have to hide myself in the galaxy in order for there to be peace, that's what I'm gonna do. Meanwhile, you got these fascist pieces of shits running around blowing up planets. What are you talking about, bro? And so that to me shows, one, people have no media literacy whatsoever. But I just also have to highlight and smile and feel good in myself when there are these times when this deep, dark, terrible, atrocious story highlights and pinpoints camaraderie and togetherness and equality and fighting for what's right, even if you have to, like, what's his name from Andor, I'm
Luthen.
fighting for I'm fighting for a world I'm never gonna see. Yeah,
Yeah.
Luthen. I'm
Fight
fighting
for a
for a world I'm
sunset
never
I'll
gonna
never
see.
see. Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? And I have to use the tools of my enemy and all this other kind of stuff like that. Yeah, I don't want to be a killer, but if killing you is going to allow a whole group of people to, or not even killing at this point, because I don't want to kill nobody. If getting you to understand that we need to take this guy out of power in order for this whole group of people to not be bombed out of existence right in front of our eyes in 2024. If Star Wars takes that for you to get that, please, your media literacy will get a little bit better. This is what George Lucas has been saying since 1977. This is what George Lucas was saying in 1999 and 2000 to 2005, and this is what Disney has been picking up on from whenever they bought Star Wars till today. No matter what you think about Disney, if you call it woke and all this other kind of stuff like that, which is funny to me, because if you don't like woke, then, and you actually know what woke means, which is just being aware of injustice and systemic injustices and systems that need to change, and that we are awake, and as we are awake, we're calling it out so we can change it. If you want to be sleep, that means that you want these things to continue to be going on. You're the I'm trying to think of a character from Andor. You're that one weird farmer that in Obi-Wan, when him and Leia got picked up. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, the Empire never did anything to me. They don't like aliens, you fuck. They'll
That
murder you in a heartbeat
that
and steal your
was
resources.
yeah, that was interesting part. Yeah. That's exactly
What are
what I
you
was thinking.
talking about, bro? And then when you look at the Rebel Army, because again, I just watched them get wiped out once again from Return of the Jedi, which on like eighth viewing, and not being a shithead and realizing where the faults in the story are is not really that bad. But anyway, so um uh uh it's the I just don't understand how people don't see these things when it's right in front of your face. or the point that I was gonna make was when you look at the rebels or the New Republic or whatever, who do they have? Aliens, humans, everybody's included. Now you may not like how fast the New Republic is moving or how lax they are with their defense, which they should have just murdered all those Empire motherfuckers. But and then I know that's not great, but it led to the First Order. So in hindsight, yeah, it's probably what they should have done.
Right.
Um, you know, when you look at all these things and all these time periods, and all these people and places, they may not be the greatest, but that's what democracy was. That's what democracy is. You know, seeing Padme was sit there and watch Palpatine take dictatorial powers,
Mm-hmm.
which might even happen here in 7 months.
This is how
You know what I
liberty
mean?
dies, with thunderous
You know what I'm saying?
applause.
Thunderous applause, right? We're gonna applaud it. We're sitting here and people are saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Out loud. It just boggles my mind that we sit here and watch this media and people have built their personalities off this media and built businesses off this media, but don't get it. Or buy dark side shit because it looks cool. Oh, okay. Sure. I guess, genocide and
Racism.
discrimination,
Yeah.
racism and classism and all this other stuff is cool. I guess they make a mean what are the hover vehicle,
The Imperial March is awesome. I love it.
right? They make a good
Yeah.
TIE fighter. Oh man, them TIE fighters. You got to keep those in production.
Which
Blows my
actually, the Rebel ships were way cooler. Like, the Rebel ships were all like hot
Yeah.
rods, and
Definitely.
the Empire
That
shit
thing
was
was
all
dope.
like, yeah, standard.
The Calamari, right?
Yeah.
Their ships are really weird, and I don't like they're bottom heavy and stuff like that. It's like a weird design, but like it worked.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, especially when they were the Republic, I kind of fuck with them, but them Star Destroyers, man, like they look cool, but what they represent is not cool at all in any way,
Yep.
shape, or form whatsoever. So, seeing them blow up, seeing the Empire lose, but then also seeing small individual steps that are humane, that ultimately, when I saw Rise of Skywalker, I almost cried in the theater when Poe was like, "Fuck, bro,
Yeah.
that's
Nobody's
it.
coming. Yeah.
Nobody's coming. It's just me." And then he turned around, and everybody was there. And I walked out of the movie theater like, "Don't you guys see this? Don't you guys understand that it's not about black, white? It's not
Yeah.
about Democrat, Republican. It's not about any of that shit." I mean, it is a little bit because you got to get rid of those ideologies in order for this collective shit to make sense. But like, it's about us
Yeah.
together as a whole. And we're going to have our strengths and our weaknesses. But as long as everybody's able to do, then we going to do. Like, I don't know. That's what I've gotten out of. That's the thing that I love most about Star Wars. So the only time that I get, well, actually, is when these dark side motherfuckers just carry on. I
Right,
I don't
right,
get it.
yeah.
Bro. You have no justification. There's no justification. Except for
Amen.
Darth Vader, which narratively is the only thing. There's no justification for him either, but he's been vindicated narratively. You made him a Force ghost, so for someone who says this is what the story is and this is what we got to deal with, even the bad parts. Well, the bad part is they let this genocidal motherfucker come back. All right, cool. So I don't feel bad having Darth Vader shit because I'm a big fan of Anakin. You know what I mean? And I don't
Right.
really like
we
Darth
because we
Vader
all
shit.
understand where he
Yeah.
came from. We all understand where
Right.
Anakin came from.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, that's like the chosen one's biggest power is the fact that you were basically kind of a genocidal maniac up until the last moment, and then boom, Force Ghost.
But I mean, realistically, so here's the other part of
But the
that I was saying,
Jedi
especially
Council, the
for
Jedi
modern
religion, is kind of responsible for Darth Vader. That's kind of
correct. Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. That's the one thing that I'm telling my friend. So, you know, uh, when who was it who died? I think it was when Padme died and all the Jedi were dying or whatever.
Yeah.
She's Arabic, so when she cusses, it's hilarious because she doesn't say it like 100% completely right, but I get where she's
Right.
coming from. And she was like, "Oh, these bitches, you fuck bitch."
Yeah.
and, I, and I was like, "Damn it, me, like calm down." She was like, "No, this is bullshit." And she was like, but I don't understand like why this happened. And I was like, well, to be honest with you, like, yes, he's responsible, but when we get to it, you're gonna see that Anakin had a Padawan that he was in charge of. And if there was anything that broke his trust in the Jedi Order in the first place, is what they did to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even then, Barris Ophi kind of had a point. I mean, granted, she didn't to go as far as she went, but she was cooking, and it's that stuff right there, right? But the biggest thing to me, and again, I don't want to make it. I mean, I do want to make it kind of like a comparison to modern day, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be too explicit. Um, the Death Star being destroyed was October 7th.
Okay.
Do you know how many people died in the Death Star? The estimates from weirdos who would estimate some shit like that
Right.
was like 750,000 to a million people,
Right. Yeah. It was major.
like that. And we're all in a movie theater cheering. Why? Because not all death and murder is just blatant death and murder. Did those stormtroopers have family? Probably. Did they have family on the ship? We've seen they've done that before with in Rogue One with the dude who built Death Star in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
So there was probably innocent people that did die. But the Death Star needed to be destroyed, my G. The second Death Star needed to be destroyed, my G.
Right.
So a Star Base Killer or Star Killer Base or whatever the fuck needed to be destroyed. Sorry. If you didn't want to have your innocence involved in that, then maybe you shouldn't have occupied them for the last. Okay, see that. It's just right there.
Right. Yeah. I get you,
It's
bud.
right there.
I get you, bud.
It's right. It's Andor. It's A New Hope. It's Rise of the Skywalker. It's
It's here and it
they're
doesn't
telling you right
want
in
to
your media.
leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Love it. Star Wars is awesome.
It is, man.
All right. Well, listen, we've good shit. Good shit. But I think we've said it all. I guess we'll see how everything develops here. But definitely, guys, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it also very much. Please like and subscribe to the video if you feel so inclined to do so. Follow me at dsquare72 on Twitter, or X, the X-Men app as I call it. At Omega Level Nerds as well. J-Onehundred. We got Mara Ortiz on Facebook. So make sure and check her out. Anything else you want people to look out for, or parting words for us, sir?
No, man, not really. I mean, we out here doing nerdy stuff. I'm gonna be super for the next month, like especially. I'm basically going through every piece of Star Wars media to get our friend caught up.
Awesome.
So I'm diving into that. That's gonna be fun, a great time. Be playing some, and to be honest with you, I might stream some of it and stay on consistent with it a little bit, especially because I have some time. But also, the big issue with streaming, and has been with streaming ever since I got kicked off of Twitch for that bullshit, which everybody literally now is saying the exact same thing that I said, which is hilarious. The whole
Motherfucker, what was that fucking comedian's name? Don Rickles. Man,
Yeah.
don't even get me started. He was saying that shit like,
Right.
oh my God, 100 years ago at this point.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, yeah.
The issue is they didn't beat me. Y'all think y'all kicked me off of the internet or whatever or you thought my perspective, got drowned out or whatever. All you did was just slow me down a little bit. The biggest issue I have is I had to make big boy investment decisions in the time period that I was streaming. If I didn't have to do some of those things, my income, I mean, me having this little break right now wouldn't be as stressful. Like I would have a huge savings account. Like I could live off of that for a year if I wanted to. And that ultimately is what the problem is. I'm not going to sit here and stream for ungrateful bastards that piss me off all night. You know what I mean? And then have
Right.
to go to a shitty job that don't pay me enough to live, even though I work a position that I'm severely getting underpaid. You know what I mean? And since that's gonna change, that part of it is not gonna. I'm not gonna be doing it for the money part. That's the part of it. I can't just sit here all day and stream when I could be making a couple bucks when I got bills due. Are y'all
Right.
gonna give me a couple bucks?
Right.
The history's shown no. So I want
Right.
to come back and right. I want to come back and stream and do all the other stuff. But with that burden off of my shoulders, I can do that the way that I wanted to, which is to come in and show my Final Fantasy love and talk about where the story's at and lore and do quizzes again.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we were to get into deeper stuff with other stuff, just finally be heard and understood this time. I'm owed some apologies, and and I sound bitter when it comes to that part of it, but
No,
I'm not.
nothing, you fuck. Anyway, sorry.
Right. I'm not really bitter. I'm owed some apologies. I'm just putting that in the ether. Will I get those apologies? Probably not. But ultimately, what I said was a 4-year premonition that I didn't want to have. If we were able to discuss this 4 years ago, then I probably would be a big streamer. And this probably would be one of those things like, D, I wasn't talking about the whole group. I was talking about these fucks right
Right.
here that agree with this. And that's not everybody. Just like the group who did October 7th isn't representative of the whole group of people. Well, the people that are bombing them aren't representative of the whole group of people either. So maybe these two fucks here need to be dealt with so we all can live in peace. How about that? That was the whole point that I was trying to make 4 years ago. But
Right
nobody
on.
wanted to have that conversation. Because that was the whole thing. The dude was trying to bait me into a debate.
Right.
Okay, you want to debate? Let's debate. He said, "Do you deny the big traumatic thing that they went through in the 1940s?" I said, "No, I don't deny it. But if you want a hot take, I'm going to give you a hot take." And I gave him a hot take, which basically is what everybody in the world
Right.
is saying right now.
There you go.
So I'm coming back, and but in a way, it'll just be, I guess, less existential, which I think will make the content more uh, accessible. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Good shit.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, it's time for us to go. But until next time, have a great one. But we'll see you next time,
Yep.
Omega Level Nerds.
Peace.